Good morning, y'all. It's Timidity. It's actually a pretty warm day. I just feel like being under the blankets to incubate like a nice little lizard under this nice red light that's emulating from this beautiful multi-layer blanket. How am I feeling today? I'm feeling pretty good. I actually got back from a hangout last night with my ex. It's very funny how multiple times over the past few days I tried to make very emotional videos about like, oh, I can't get over what's his name, I'm so sad, and also I think I should stop seeing my ex Liam, blah blah blah. But then each time I tried to record that video, the videos would just like there would be a random glitch or an alarm that would just like suddenly cut the videos off as I was recording them. And I was like, okay, you know what, maybe it's a sign. Maybe something is gonna happen that's gonna prove me wrong, that I shouldn't cut off Liam, that I'm gonna forget about what's his face. And guess what? He ended up hitting me up like, hey, you want to hang out today? We went over, he tried on my new mink coat, and we had a blast like trying that on and hyping each other up. We did a bit of dancing, we got some food, we fucked like animals by seducing each other, and it actually felt like he actually ate it good. It's like, oh, okay, I see you. I actually enjoyed missionary and backshots with him. And phone bone. Nice. And I got to show him that movie Sorry to Bother You, which is awesome. Ew, it's claustrophobic under the blankets, but it's cold up here. But either way, sorry, bear with me. This is just a casual video, so you might get non-linear storytelling or me being just a little bit out of it. What can I say? But I'm feeling pretty good. It was actually a really nice time. Like, we watched a nice movie together. It was a fun time. We both laughed our ass off during it, so he seemed to have really liked it. He got us a bunch of KFC, and he was being extra nice. Like, he was doing that thing I like when men do, where at first I was just gonna get something simple, like one of those, KFC famous bowls that actually, like, they seem nasty but they're actually really tasty. And then on top of that, he was like, you know what, here, get you something else on top of that, like it's gonna be the same price anyway. So then I got a chicken sandwich, and then I got, oh, and he was extra sweet. Like, he didn't really finish his food, and I guess he was like, you know what, I'll give it to Tamia. Hey Tamia, eat as many fries as you want. You want my nuggets? Here, eat my nuggets. And he just kept giving me food, and it's like, oh man, you know the way to my heart pretty damn well. Did it actually scare me at some point because my stomach swelled up and was not going down? And it's been doing that lately, and it's been kind of scaring me. And I remember I kind of thought to myself, my stomach's been doing this a lot more. But it's weird because I have been shitting. So I just kind of thought to myself, either my metabolism is really fucked up from 2 months straight of endless Mountain Dew and Popeyes, and also not really working out, aside from like, okay, occasionally working out, but it's like I need to drink water and stuff too, and like, 30 minutes of dancing at maximum per day. It's like that kind of works, but not exactly. I just kind of looked at myself in the reflection. I said, I better not be pregnant. But I said that mostly as a joke. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm not pregnant. But then I said, well, wait, when was my last period? And Liam got kind of scared. He was like, when was your last period? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I had one in January. I just don't remember it. Why? Because I was on an obscene amount of Mountain Dew and sleeping almost every day because I was extremely depressed and sad. But if I recall correctly, eventually, like, he got kind of scared, but I said, wait, no, I remember. I did have my period, and then I remember I had sex with you the second I got off of it, and I was ovulating, like, super fucking hard. Oh, I remember that. Which, in hindsight, that should be soothing, but in hindsight, it's probably not soothing. It's like, I don't know if that's very soothing at all. It's like, oh, good news, my period did come in January. Bad news, me and you definitely fucked raw as I was ovulating. And then I remembered something else, and I was like, oh, well, fingers crossed. But he was like, yeah, let me know if anything happens, baby. But he got kind of scared, even though I said, I'm pretty sure I'm not, I doubt I'm pregnant. I'm pretty sure it is just food bloating. Nothing at all. I highly fucking doubt it. Like, nah, pull-out method was indeed used, and he's good at that. But he was like, try not to think about it, baby, and I think that was slang for, please stop scaring the shit out of me. And so that was interesting. I already am aware, though, that I would not have a kid if it was by Liam. I don't know. Like, how do I put this? Liam's an attractive man. He's a sweet man. But he doesn't really care about things in the world. And he doesn't know much about things in the world. And he just is kind of... I don't know. I'm not going to shit on him, though. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is just, like, I had a nice time with him. I had a wonderful time with him. And I felt really nice. I actually went the whole time without thinking of Mitchell. Which was really at ease, because I thought to myself, if it's meant to be, it'll come back to me, and if it's not, then I will never see him again. And frankly, that's also a win in my book, because I don't want to see him again, not at this point. But I'm feeling happy. Like, I feel like things are starting to stabilize and get back to normal, and it felt nice. Me and Liam spent the whole night just watching, like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and like trying and anime like Hunter x Hunter and like eating tons of snacks and food. We were gonna bake cookies, but he accidentally didn't know that the eggs he got were rotten, so we had to throw it out. But it's okay, he overcompensated by giving me a fuck ton of other snacks too. And we had a great time and stayed up till 4 a.m. just vibing until eventually we went to bed, slept in, and then eventually like he got me an Uber home as he went to work, and yeah, he's putting in the work to be sweet again, and I like that. I never know how, I don't know how to feel about him, but I can tell he's putting in a certain effort, and I do value that. That's beautiful to me. I do value that because it's like even when I first came in, it was like okay, he was nice and showered, he cleaned his teeth, his bedroom smelled nice, like fucking sugar and vanilla with a little bit of shea butter. Like he specifically went out and bought a Febreze so that he could make his room smell nice for my arrival. I thought that was sweet, very kind man. So I'm feeling pretty good. I guess this is more of an update video. I don't know if I want to talk about Mitchell. I think I might just take what happened during the week with him to the grave. Because I don't know if I want to remember it. Or at least there's a lot to cover, and at this point it's like, why would I bring it up again? So I can cry and feel miserable and hate my life? Or do I just want to embrace the new life I have? But anyone can get the gist of it anyway. I'll say it like this. What are my final thoughts on Mitchell? I think Mitchell is a pathetic man. Do I think he has a lot of things that could be seen as impressive and lovely and interesting? Absolutely, of course I do. Do I still find him pathetic, disrespectful, despicable, and overall just not the best human being? And has a lot of potential, but I can't wait for potential? Yes. I think he genuinely needs therapy. He has massive, like really intense ADHD. He got diagnosed when he was younger, but he didn't believe it. He thought the teacher did it out of spite. But let's just say there's only so many times you can see someone like almost walk through a red light and get smashed by cars. Like 8 fucking times during that week, at the very least. It's like after a while it's like, okay nigga, I noticed that you focus on me so hard that you can't focus on your surroundings, and you'll walk into a pole or almost get hit by a car. And like I remember several times, sometimes I'd be like, hey Mitchell, hey, and like he'd be too wrapped up in whatever the fuck he's zoning out about that I have to be like, hey Mitchell, hey, and grab him by the arm. And literally me grabbing him by the arm or trying to grab another object or trying to full on pull him away would not stop him from feeling the call of the void subconsciously. Or just accidentally being so distracted that he was just so adamant about, isn't this the way to go? And not only would I be like, that is not the way to go, first of all, and second of all, there's a million cars speeding. That is a red light. You can't just walk through a red light. Like, come on now. I thought he was a handsome man. Don't worry, the rose-colored glasses are coming off, so now I'm just seeing him as any pale motherfucker out there. You know, he's kind of ugly, actually, but it's okay. He was ugly in a way that I found beautiful at the time that I met him. But now I see certain photos of us, and I'm like, yeah, he had weird little bug eyes, and his face is too long. And he has no top lip. His mustache is big to cover the fact that he does not have that much of a top lip. It was kind of funny kissing him because I kind of thought to myself, is his mustache in the way? Or is his mustache the only thing that's making this kiss extra plushy? It was comfortable. I don't know, like imagine there's like a hard mattress with some soft blankets up top. Doesn't change the fact that if you were to move the blanket, aka his mustache, there's nothing underneath. Like it would not be so comfortable. I don't know. Also, he's a love-bombing, pathetic asshole who will probably do what he did to me to a million other girls and probably die not ever learning his lessons. He will die never estranging his family or trying to figure out some sort of way to bond with them or communicate or try with them. He will probably keep being pathetic. Now, I'll put it to you like this. I care for Mitchell to an extent. I do. I don't know if I can. Do I hate him? That's a debatable question. It depends on the hour of the day, time of the day, and how I'm feeling. I'll put it this way. I think Mitchell is a beautiful, lovely human being. When he's not a stupid piece of shit who is evil and narcissistic and a gaslighter and fucking cowardly. When he is not a punk ass bitch, he can be pretty stellar, but that can go to like almost anyone on this planet. I'll say it like this. Mitchell. Okay, I'll say it like this. Mitchell had a very hard childhood. Not as hard as it could have been. Like, you know, he still got to live in rural China and travel and, like, do a lot of things, but it's like he still told me, like, some people don't, I've noticed this, people don't like to admit when their parents were abusive. They don't like how they might get judged or perceived or made fun of after that, and I understand. Me, I'm willing to admit it because I'm perfectly fine with being like, my mother was an abusive fucking cunt who beat me on fucking shower floors. And if anyone were to make fun of that, well, okay, if the joke's really funny, I'll laugh. And if it's not funny, then cool. I'm not talking to you anymore and I'm not hanging out with you. Simply put, you just gotta own shit and have less shame. That's what I believe in. Because how are you gonna get far in life if you can't even, like, be proud of yourself in all states of being, you know? Like, I can love my, like, it's easy to love yourself when your life's going perfectly well. Can you still love yourself when it's going hard? Can you love yourself when you have like a month of like endless Mountain Dew and Popeye chicken sandwiches in a fucked up bedroom and endless stress, and your hair is super fucking God knows what the fuck this is? This looks like a braided wig. Yeah, it's like there's pillow lengths, but at the same time I don't even really have pillow, like my pillow's disintegrating under my body. Like I got a crack in the wall over here. It's like, but still at the end of the day, it's like, if people were to mock me for it, it's like, fuck you. It doesn't change the fact that you like me enough where you want to watch all my content and see how I'm doing. So you're still a fan. You can critique all you want, but you are still a stan. Love it. I'm just saying. Now, anyway, fuck you if you hate, and shout out to the ones who love. I think it's important to aim for the ones who will love you regardless of anything. Those are the important people. I will say this though. I remember. Oh, as I was saying about Mitchell, let's just say it was more like emotional abuse in his family, like extreme emotional abuse. From what I can recall, he has a better dynamic with his mother, but it's still like damn near vacant. She was nicer, but not inherently loving. He explains that he feels like they just had kids for the sake of having them. Like he doesn't genuinely feel as if kids are good. Like, how do I put this? So he's 30, so that means his parents must be old as fuck. And they probably came from a generation that was fucked up as hell about kids, family, money, everything. Like, I don't want to do the math. I could stalk and find out. Do I? I think I actually looked it up before. I think they're in their like 50s or 60s. So they are from a very, very far back time. Alright, I looked it up. His mother was born August 1958. Rough. And so, mind you, put into perspective, you're like a child who's born with parents from the 1950s. They probably had you just because they felt they needed to. And then you probably grew up with the same values instilled in you in a society that probably just figured, hey, you have a lot more value when you have a child. Now, mind you, I don't know when they had a child, but I could do the math. Let me look it up because I know the age of their children. All right, I did the math. So his mother was probably 30 when she first had a kid. So it's like, imagine you're growing up. You're like a woman who was born in like the 50s, 60s, and you have the society you live in and the parents you live in, the system you live in. And then it's like, it's the 80s, women's rights were still kind of starting. Like we were only just now getting certain rights. And then probably like you're 30 and you believed all the shit that it's like, oh, if I'm 30 and I don't have a kid, then I'm just some old bitch in the eyes of society. Like, I don't know, that's a potential excuse. Or maybe at some point she did want kids. There's a million fucking reasons. All I know is that at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact about everything that happened. They had a bunch of kids. 3 kids. Mitchell didn't tell me about his mysterious second older brother, the oldest child. He didn't. But I think something must have happened. Either his brother died or his brother got estranged. God knows what happened, but it still seems to have fucked up Mitchell this day because he's very much. I'll put it this way. Sorry if I'm all over the place, but I'll put it this way. I'm trying to figure out how to analyze this, even though I have a bit of a headache. I need to get some food in my system. Surprisingly, all the KFC I ate yesterday, I don't know, I guess I'm finally burned out all those calories overnight or something, so I'm running on hot air. But Mitchell was a young kid, raised by people who probably just felt like they had to have kids for their time period or else they were failures. Like they needed to. If they didn't, they would be weird. And then that's how he felt growing up. He didn't feel like they were actually loved or wanted. He felt like they just had kids just to have them. But they lived, in his words, extremely boring lives. He said they never celebrate Thanksgiving, they never celebrate Christmas, they don't even really do nightly dinners in general together. They didn't do that growing up. It was just like, here's your food, go somewhere. And like, never really having that intimacy, that's kind of scary. That can fuck up a person. Even I know that. Like, trust me, I had a fucked up childhood, but I still was able to at least have family dinners and go around the table asking about each other's day. I can't imagine how that must have felt growing up without that sort of like family intimacy, like bare minimum. And like, but it also was ingrained in him that like, hey, you need your family. If you don't have your family, like, it's all over. You'll fucking die without them. If they're not around, you will die. You will suffer. Bad things will come your way. I don't. I probably won't ever talk to Mitchell again. But like the way I saw him cry so hard when he was talking about estrangement, and like I said, some people don't want to admit that their family is abusive. So I remember he even was like, no, no, like they just weren't the greatest parents, but eventually he did kind of admit, like, yeah, like after a lot of alcohol, he did admit, yeah, they were kind of abusive, and they didn't hit us or anything. Oh well, okay, maybe with my dad a few times when he was drunk and he wanted to like, he was just full of hot air and had an ego and just blowing off steam or whatever, and it's like that's still bad, Mitchell. It doesn't have to be beatings every day. It could just be like nonstop neglect. Like it's like you had the most bare minimum of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like, okay, you had a place to wash your clothes, you had a place to exist, you had food and a roof over your head, and you had a family that overall didn't really care if you lived or died. You just kind of existed, and that's it. That could fuck up anybody. And from what I can tell, he said his dad may have allegedly had a string of cheating on his mom repeatedly, and how they weren't a family that loved each other, and then also how even amongst his siblings and brothers and stuff, they kind of were like, I'll put it this way, amongst the brothers, the family did that thing where they kind of like didn't want them to be friends or close. I think he mentioned something about the parents kind of wanting them in competition with each other. Like they both wanted them to be the very best, but they didn't want them to be close because then, it's easier to manipulate kids. And because if like kids like each other, they're able to team up against the parents in their lives easily. But if you make the kids not like each other or have separations or have issues and control shit like that, then you can do whatever you want. I know that from experience. My parents did that. My mom openly bragged to my face about doing that. She's a sick and vile woman. I know how that can fuck up someone. Like, hell, I think I'm the only one who really broke through that weird little matrix in the family. And Mitchell always compliments me on it because he said he knows it's hard. And I do, to an extent, feel bad for my siblings. To an extent, you know. But, anyway. From what I can tell, Mitchell seems like he has, like, commitment issues, but also abandonment issues. He likes the idea of being loved. He doesn't like the reality that could come with it. He likes it when it's in the fun, fleeting, like Delulu stage where you just get to be all sunshine and butterflies and honeymoon stage and do whatever and act whatever without consequences, but he gets genuinely afraid that it will end. He will get so terrified about like, am I just gonna get abandoned? Do I mean nothing to her? Is she gonna just leave me like I'm nothing? Am I just gonna become a guy like all the other guys in her stories? And that breaks my heart. Because no matter how many times I told him no that entire fucking week, he didn't believe me until maybe the final day. And I'm really trying hard not to cry thinking about it, so you can tell I really mean it. Ow, my eyes hurt. I'm way too dehydrated to cry right now. God damn it. Alright, but I guess I am. Yeah. Fucking Mitchell. God damn it. Making me. How long has it been? It's been like a single day or two where I haven't cried about Mitchell. But I care about. How do I put this? I could tell it destroyed him. A lot of it. Because it's like, mind you, he's almost in his 30s and he's still afraid to estrange his family. He has no reason not to. They hardly talk at all. They have no communication. Even last time, the only reason he saw them for Christmas, and he told me this, was just because he wanted to to get some nice clothes for our little week-long, little trip we were gonna have. That's the only reason. He just went to their house because it's like, oh, I think I have some nice slacks in the attic that I can get. Because, he wears our fucking ugly ass cargo pants. But, respect to his fashion. I'd probably wear those too. They are comfortable, but they're just fucking ugly. But whatever. No need to hate on his drip. But as I was saying, he went there and the only thing they talked about was the family dog. Like, oh yeah, we got treats for the dog. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we might get a new collar. Oh. Yeah, on a leash. Oh, and that was it. And that was it. Just like fucking 20 minutes or hours or however much time he spent with them of nothing but that. And he fucking hated it. He said it felt like pulling teeth. He said he felt fucking miserable. And that is sad that you feel that way about your own family and that it has to be so dead. But I understand. I truly do. And like I guess this ties back into it. He notices the relationship between his mom and his dad. It's like they aren't lovers. They aren't even at the weird like used to love each other at some point stage. They just have kind of just been roommates their entire life. Like I don't know if he mentioned screaming matches or whatever, but I'm pretty sure there were. But let me not assume without 100% being sure I'm accurate. But I will just say he did say that it's basically like two people who just refuse to leave each other, so they're just stuck around each other. They barely interact. They'll watch like the news or whatever, and that's it. And that's an extremely sad and pathetic life to live. I think his reason with wanting a big family is because, it's the American dream. It's how you know you've made it big and you're successful in a lot of these men's head. Is that it's like, because instead of it being like, oh, you're just some lone kid who doesn't really have you don't really have a brother, you don't really have a mother, you don't really have a father, you're just kind of fending for yourself. You have your needs met, but then there's nothing else like that can fuck with the kid's development. I wouldn't be shocked if he's trying to like go fuck you. I can have a whole new family that's big and better without you. And it's going to be so impressive and grand that I'm going to be in love with them and I won't require anyone else. He finds it pathetic that some people are fine living their life alone, but I think that's just because he is a man who can never picture himself being alone. He spent too much of his life alone, so now it seems like he's just fighting to, like, not be alone. Or at least that's his end goal, at least. The path he's taking to get there, not exactly the best one. So this ties into what I was going to say next. So Mitchell, I mentioned he has abandonment issues and commitment issues. I know. Someone could just say something like, oh, Tamia, he just didn't like you enough. He just didn't like you like that. That's fine, fair and dandy. But the thing is, I don't fucking believe that. And it's not being narcissistic or egotistical, because if he truly, truly did not like me like that, that wouldn't be that much of an issue. But the thing is, I could tell he did. I can tell he did. And whether it's just some sort of like temporary infatuation or obsession or crush he gets or whatever the fuck. Like it could have been fleeting, or maybe he'd actually, I don't know. It doesn't matter because I know he's not around. But I'll say it like this. That man and my connection, despite it being brief, it felt like the connection between David Bowie and Iman, for example. It was absurd, and I don't like it. Trust me when I say I don't like it, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I really do not like that I met him. I'm not unhappy. It's just like, he's a childish individual, is what I'll say. I know men can do a lot of games and for the fun and shits and giggles. He could have been doing anything. I'm just gonna say it. Mitchell hates showering. He hates showering and taking care of himself and washing his body, but then when he was around me, he would have showered every single second of the day if it meant I was going to be there with him. If anything, he didn't even want sex. He just kept asking, like, hey, like, it didn't matter if he took a shower last night. He'd wake up and he'd be like, hey, Tamir, you want to take a shower this morning? And we would have fun. And it wasn't even on some, like, ooh, I get to touch her naked and soap up her body. It was just like, yay, we get to just splash around in the water together and, like, make gargling noises or spit out water at each other like dolphins, or just vibe in the steam and have conversations under warm, steamy water and just enjoy ourselves. Like, do you know how interesting it is that a man who hates showering was so happy to do it if I was there? Even if it was just to hug in the shower, or even just to, like, give a smooch, or even just to talk without any sort of touching each other. And mind you, he saw me naked, almost 24/7 when we were in the hotel room itself. Like, so that's not even a thing. I don't know. He was the type of dude where I'd be washing my ass crack, facing away from him, but then I'd be nervous. I'd be like, hey, does it look all good back there? I don't know. Like, I know that sounds gross, but I'm still telling you anyway because I'm this far along. He was the type of dude where it's like, hey, did I get all the soap out? Did I get everything off from back there? And this man would literally get on his knees as a fucking tall ass 6'5" dude. He would spread apart my cheeks, and he was kind of nasty, but brace yourself. Let's just say he would lick both holes. and then be like, "Yep, all good," and then motorboat my ass cheeks, and then stand back up with a smile on his face, like, or he just would kiss it or just sniff it. He was a strange man. I liked it though. That was hot. He was like, thorough check. Jesus. Like the type of dude where I could ask him to help put lotion on like my shoulders or my back, and he would put it on his neck so that the smell of me would be on him by the time he was traveling back home. Like the type of guy when we got that little fake ring from that store when we were on our trip. He acted like it was a real engagement ring, like he could not stop taking photos as if it really was one, or asking me to wear it like 24/7 because he couldn't stand to see it without me. He was the type of dude to record videos of us and really point out, like, this was the moment where I was thinking, hey, this could be something real. Like, what if? Oh, see how I'm just embracing your hand? Oh, see this? Oh, yes, I had to pull you in right here. And he would insist on watching the videos of us over and over and over. He would. Wow. Even like last month during our falling out, it's like, mind you, I was the one trying to hang up the phone. He was the one who wanted to keep staying on, and then he stayed on to the point where it was an 8, almost 9 hour phone call, where he stayed on the phone with me just talking about anything under the sun for hours. And then on top of that, he fell asleep multiple times, and each time I was like, here, let me just go ahead and hang up, because you seem like you really want to go to sleep. It's okay, you need rest. And then he would just act like I didn't say anything and just continue about another topic because he just wanted to keep talking to me. And then he went to bed on the phone, still not hanging up. And I said, okay, fuck it, I'll keep my phone on too, just because I'm curious. But the next thing you know, he woke up at like 8 a.m., 8:15, and he just immediately starts being in the phone like, Tamia, are you there? You still up? And despite how I was just barely awake, he wanted to immediately start talking to me again, and we talked for like another, like, what, 30, 45 minutes? Like about anything. Like, ooh, have you tried gumbo? Oh, what's your stance on corn? Oh, what's this? Like, it's like dude was literally fantasizing about me having his kids, whether it was just rooted in a breeding kink, or if he, well, I think at some point he actually did mention he started seriously contemplating it. I remember once we actually got to the topic of like religion and homeschooling, that's when he actually looked so shattered when he realized we had such drastically like they weren't that drastically different, but still different enough where he was like, fuck, I can't do this with her, I can't. Like, he couldn't even really be delulu, and I get it. He has a plan in his head, and if it probably would break anyone's heart if it's like you thought you met someone who was perfect for you and then find out maybe they don't fit in as perfect as well. He was pretty devastated, but we still had a wonderful rest of our trip. I'm just saying, that man cried in front of me because of how deeply he felt for me, at least allegedly. We were supposed to only spend like a day with each other, and even then it was just gonna be like fucking sex, and then like a little, like one dinner and sex, and then that would be it, and then we were gonna block each other right fucking after, and that was supposed to be it. And then you want to know what? It, like, no, he was the one who was like, Ashley, let's meet on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Ashley, let's stay for another night and another night and another night, and we did, and I'm grateful for that. I am. I'm gonna say it. I think he's lying to himself, and I think he's lying to me. When he said he didn't like me, I don't fucking believe that. And I don't think I ever will. I think he knows how he feels. I think he just doesn't want to acknowledge it. And I'm not saying it like some sort of like psycho bitch who just thinks that he's pushing away his feelings or immature as a cover up for her own ego. No. I'll say it as ego free as possible. It's fine for him to truly not like me. But I think even he fucking knows deep down that he did. And he probably liked a ton of women before me too. Maybe, and if it was just like that, like if I am just some disposable woman who he had a period of very, very quick infatuation and obsession and delusion with, then dumping off like fucking hot garbage. Which honestly, it seems like that aligns with him because he did say that he has a habit of doing that to women. But I don't know. When he mentioned that like the first day of us, or on like the first or second day of us hanging out, I remember the conversation went along the lines of him talking about how he's had flings with women where even then, like, they didn't have sex immediately. It usually was just like, some back and forth, cat and mouse, like, like fun, like a hot and heavy handed romance. And then eventually something would happen that would make him realize that they weren't the one for him, like an argument or something or whatever. And so then he would dip out. And I said, how did the girls take it? And they said, usually not so well. And I said, what do you think that is? And he said, I don't know. And I kind of side-eyed that interaction and I kept note of it. And let's just say, boy, did I learn the hard way. It's like, because if it was just a situation of like, oh, what if like he was dating a chick, but then she ended up being like this way, that way, or the other? Like, but no, in my situation, he hyped it up as if we were going to be something very, very intensely to a disgustingly obnoxious degree. Like, he couldn't go a second without wanting to like hold my hand or touch my body or kiss my fucking face. He said a lot of things, he did a lot of things. Because if he truly thought I meant nothing to him, I don't think he would have tripped over me talking about other men, even passively. Like, I couldn't even say, I went to that restaurant on a date before, it's terrible. And the food was like $200 and we both left hungry. He couldn't even hear a passing blurb like that without getting insanely jealous or feeling inferior or some shit. And just like, I don't know. He disgusts me. But I understand it to an extent. But I guess from my perception is I think he wants to find the most perfect woman on paper, specifically because, like, his own dynamic with his parents was really fucked up. I think he saw that his parents were very much incompatible and not exactly loving and didn't show each other normal affection and do normal things. So I think that he just really was like, oh, I want something the opposite of them. So unless it's a woman who's perfect for me in every single way, shape, and form, like she's not worth pursuing. Even if I like her, even if I feel things for her, it's not worth the gamble because I don't want a marriage where, he probably didn't want a marriage where it's like cheating, fighting, emotional abuse, physical abuse, disagreements, massive personality differences. I get it. I don't hate him for that. I just hate the way he went about it. Don't come into the life of me someone who you knew couldn't emotionally handle it. I'm just, the thing that annoyed me most is that I don't know if I want to talk about myself. I want to talk about him because it really pisses me off. I'm mad at him because I recognize that it's like this is a man who is flawed. And the reason it's probably never ended with all those girls is because, yeah, nigga, you acted like you fucking adored them and then left their life over some petty bullshit without any real fucking communication. That's fucking stupid. And then you want to complain about being alone or not having holiday plans or Valentine's Day plans or anything, but it's like you made your bed, now lie in it. It's like all those women hate you, all of them. Interesting. Because damn, even for me, I can at least explain away why some niggas hate me when I leave them. I can at least say something like, oh, they had very large egos and wanted to own me, but also didn't really want to put in the groundwork to actually try being with me through like healthy communication or respectful boundaries and like respecting my consent and autonomy. So I had to leave them and they didn't like that. So it was a power hold thing. Or I can say something like, oh, I've been a nut job. I've done terrible, terrible things to people sometimes when I've been mad at them. So sometimes they don't like, well, okay, more that's when they leave me. I'll at least admit that I ain't got nothing to hide. Fuck shame. But if I leave someone and they get mad, I can usually at least pinpoint why. I can explain what I did. I can explain what they did. I can usually pinpoint it. If you're just like, I don't know why the women hate me when I leave. It's like, I think you fucking do. You just don't want to look it in the eye because you know it'll hurt your ego. And like, as much as I think he's so impressive, he does have an extremely fragile ego. And he's just like every other man I've hated because guess what? Extremely low self-esteem. If Mitchell gets himself fired up, then he will just keep finding ways to shit on himself through you. So even if you said a million times, Mitchell, you're one of the most handsome men I've met in ages, I find you extremely enrapturating. I love your conversation. I love your looks. I like your fashion. Yes, even those fucked up cargo pants. I like hanging out with you. I think you're fun and goofy, and I like your jokes, and I like your lifestyle, and I like you. But no, he would always find reasons to hate himself. And that broke my fucking heart. It's like, no offense, nigga, if you're one of the best dudes out here and you hate yourself, then Jesus. Like, how do you hate yourself? What's there to hate? I don't know. I'm sad now. Also, I was gonna say this. God, I'm hungry. I gotta get food in a second. I was gonna say it like this. Like I said about Mitchell's parents, I think Mitchell's just searching for the utmost perfect woman. Either that or he's got a big ego. Because trust me, I also have met men who do that even without it. Some men are just very stubborn, assholey people. Like I said, ego. I've met men where it's like, I remember with one guy, I just simply didn't laugh at a fucked up racist joke he said. And then I didn't laugh at a transphobic joke he said later. And then he started going on with his sensitive ass ego about, ooh, if I have to change myself one too many times, I'm just gonna consider it a bad omen and we shouldn't be together. It's like, nigga, I already don't like you. I already don't like you. Like, shut the fuck up. That was so. I would, if I could go back in time, I would have fought that one ex a lot sooner. Holy shit. Let me. Sorry, I need to zone out and think about punching that ex 1 second. Let's see if it's satisfying. Okay, cool. That took like 5 seconds. I backhanded the shit out of that nigga. I remember that now. That was good. Amen. I don't regret it. Amen. I should have done it a lot sooner and a lot harder. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons to his behavior, but at least this is what I see. Because think about it, someone who has abandonment and commitment issues, those are usually people who hate themselves or they think no one else is good enough for them. Like, trust me, I've had that same thing where it's like, I love the idea of being loved, but then a relationship is scary because it's like, what if you're with someone and you feel trapped and you feel like you can't leave? What if you're with someone and then they switch up and the Scooby Doo mask comes off and they are a nightmare beyond your wildest fucking horrifying nightmares? You get what I mean. What if, like, yeah, trust me, I've had plenty of relationships. We all saw what happened last year when I had that relationship with that one guy who I don't even like to say the name of because he was so disturbing. It's like, it went from this is such a lovely, adoring fella, and I like how he treats me, and it feels great, and I'm happy to be alive, to now I don't even say his name. To now I have almost successfully forgotten any good memory with him because it's so damn fault. He should have never hurt me. He should have respected me. But he didn't. So I left, he got mad. Whoop de whoop. And 1 second. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen how it would have gone with Mitchell, but I don't know. Maybe it is for the best. Because think about it. Sorry, that's my stomach gargling, by the way. I'm hungry as fuck. But maybe it's for the best that things didn't work out with me and Mitchell. Because who knows? Maybe there's some alternate reality where we would have kept dating, but then I would have been too clingy and he would have been scared and thrown off of his routine and shit could have hit the fan over that. Maybe it could have been, I don't know, we both simultaneously have abandonment issues but also commitment issues and then keep getting jealous if we try to move on from each other or whatever the fuck. Knowing him, as nice as he was and as lovely as he was, still to an extent he has everything I've hated in a man that could have destroyed me. Extremely low self-esteem, high ego, high fragility, self-hatred, ability to project, not good at emotionally processing his own shit. Like, oh my god, I still remember, like, god, he got so jealous. It's like, why you, it's like, I'm spending nonstop time with you every second of every day, smiling ear to ear, and you're still finding ways to get jealous because you heard a small blurb that lasted like 5 seconds about me talking about trying a restaurant with somebody, where it's obvious the point is I'm critiquing the restaurant and not that I'm on a date with some dude. He's not good at confronting his own emotions. He's not good at processing emotions. He's not good at doing anything, really. Because it's like, you are a grown ass white man. You are literally one of those Aryan race looking motherfuckers. And I mean that, like, jokingly, but it's like, dead ass he does. Like, Jesus Christ, he's terrifying. It's like, you have money, you have a good job, you have everything needed to cut off your family, but you don't, because you're a fucking pussy. Meanwhile, I had nothing compared to you, and I still made everything out of my life because I tried, and he just won't. And I think that's a pathetic trait, but I will at least say I commend him for reminding me how hard that is a thing to do, and for still praising me about it. And I still will value him for saying things that not other people would, because I'll get like a million different forgive your mother like stupid ass comments day by day, but he was the only motherfucker who was like, someone should fucking kill your mother. I would fucking murder your mother. And I hate to say it, that still makes me want to kind of suck his dick a little bit. Like, that is a hot sentence. I love it that he said that. It was great. I think there were a lot of things that could have made us compatible, but I'll put it this way. No matter how you slice it, it's not a man who's meant for me because he's pathetic. Even if, like, let's say he didn't have any feelings for me and this was all just some elaborate, fucked up prank or like a love bombing joke or whatever, and I truly meant nothing to him. Like, I bought him the same level of bliss that, like, those fucking ads you get with the little mini games for, like, Word City or whatever the fuck are. Like a temporarily fun distraction. If I truly was that, then it's okay. I don't need someone who's as psychopathic and weird as him in my life. Because it's like, sorry, dude, you can't just allude to, like, marriage and kids with me over and over and over and look at me with all that love in your eyes and hold my hand the way you did and always just do all the right fucking things. You can't, like, wow. If it all seriously was just an act, then let's just be happy that the nut job's not anywhere near me, and I pray that he doesn't get close to another girl. Not like he ever will. If anything, he'll probably do a good job of shooting himself in the foot romantically than I could ever do, even if I wanted to, which I don't. Aside from just hoping that any girl gets protected from him at his worst moments. And also protected from him at his best, because his best is a fucking facade. And it'll hurt 10 times more when he fucking leaves because of that. God. I want to vomit. It makes me sick to my stomach to think that I'm still sad 2 months later. But here I am. And then what if it was real? Which is an even crueler joke. What if it was real? What if he wasn't just some psychopathic nut job going out of his way to hype up me as much as he could? What if he actually meant what he said? What if he actually was trying to show me with his actions that he cared for me, even when he couldn't quite convince me with his words that he didn't? Like, what if when I woke up on Christmas Day and he immediately got ecstatic hearing me wake up and started kissing me and making love to me in bed? Without his dick, because his dick didn't work, just to be consistent with his mouth. Sorry, okay, sorry, but you know, what if that was real? What if that was real? I remember at some point he told me, I think it was Christmas Day, he gestured to a small little bump on his cheekbone and he was like, you know how I got this? And I said, oh, that looks nasty, how'd you get that? And he said, from you. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, like last night when we were in the hotel together. Like, you know, I was asleep and you just out of nowhere you sat up, slapped the shit out of me and went back to bed. I said, I don't believe I did that. He said, you did. I don't know what you did. And we kept going back and forth, but it was still a lighthearted conversation. And eventually I was just like, okay, so let me get this straight. Like, I'm not saying that's impossible, but if that's true, if I really somehow just sleepwalked on some half asleep, slap the shit out of Mitchell for no fucking reason, roll back into bed like nothing happened. Why didn't you wake me up? Why didn't you say anything? And also, how come when it was Christmas morning at like 5 a.m., like, and you heard me wake up, why was your first thought to make out with me? And he said, I don't know, I just felt like it. The body wants what it wants, I don't question it. And that's amusing as fuck. It's like, okay, nigga, you can't say you don't like me or have feelings for me if it's like, Tia slapped the shit out of me overnight. I'm gonna lay down with one eye open, and the second she wakes up, I'm gonna passionately kiss her as if I've missed her for 1,000 lifetimes. Excuse me? It feels like a dream that I met him, to the point where it almost doesn't feel real. So I guess it is good that I'm documenting it, so I can at least remember, like, hey, that wasn't just some, like, fucked up dream or like whatever. You actually did meet Mitchell. You actually did meet a guy who was gorgeous and relatively intelligent to an extent, and he actually stood up for you. And like, oh my god, like, we would have instances where we would go to a restaurant and then like the staff person would be so mean to me, and Mitchell was one of the only men I've met in my life, which is sad considering I've dated so many of them, where he actually was like, don't talk to her that way. She's asking you a simple question. Why can't you do that? Why are you acting like she's crazy? So how about you do that for her?
actually, you know what, fuck off. And like and then the wait staff walked off, and he was like, this guy's not getting a tip. You're not crazy at all, and kissed all over my face. I don't think a man would do that over someone who's lukewarm over. And if he is, then maybe he's just a good man to an extent. I like to think it was real, at least what I had with him. But I think that's just because I can't say that it's not. I know someone though, they were witchy, and I guess I'll mention that. They did mention though that he seemed like the type of man who has on a mask. So it's like, hey, maybe he's just some narcissist who's really, really good at mirroring people and really, really good at. Because think about it, it would add up to certain things he did: the gaslighting, the selfishness, the sensitive ego, plenty of things. But I don't know. It would have been lovely if he didn't put me in that position. I could have loved it if it was just like a wonderful thing that had a fucking nice end and a nice beginning. And then, if not for that, it probably could have saved us a whole lot of trouble. And it probably could have saved me 2 months of tears. That would have been nice. And then I could have seen him as nice. A lot nicer than I see him as now. But if he really did like me and it is just some sort of sick game, then what can I say? I can't wait around and see if he becomes mentally sane. Or one day changes his mind for me. Because that's what a lot of men do. A lot of men really, really want me, but do they put in the work to actually try? Do they put in the work to actually try to be interesting or try to be like, Liam, I remember he almost got cut off. He has his habit where he can't stay consistent, but at least we had our good time last night. And he proved me wrong. I didn't need to make a long, hour-long video about me crying about how I can never see him again because he's so pathetic. Because he came into my life again, and he was like, I'm gonna give you food, I'm gonna watch movies you like, and we're gonna bond over it, and we're gonna have mutual interests, and we're gonna try again. And that felt good, and I liked that. And then, yeah, that's what I like in a man. Mitchell can't do that. Mitchell is as stubborn as a mule, and probably as smart as one too. And I mean that very degradingly. But I guess I expected a lot better out of him. I did. I thought he could be better than that. Now I guess the question is, do I feel moved on from him? I'll put it this way. Now that the weather's getting warm and I'm starting to have more fun memories with people on dates that aren't him, even if they aren't 100% perfect, it's still like, okay, like 70 to 80% bliss, like fun conversations with dudes in their Teslas as we're on our way to go get hibachi, or like hanging out with Liam and sharing kisses every few minutes as we're watching episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like, stuff like that is nice. And it's helping. And it helps that the weather's getting warm so that I don't just have to be endlessly shivering inside in bed with nothing to do but be sad, watch YouTube, and think about his bitch ass making me happy for the 1 week of winter where I actually feel consistent joy. Kind of makes it hard to have a good opinion on him because it's like if everything really was real, and if he truly was on that phone call with me for 8 to 9 hours when he did, like, whether it was just because it was a fleeting, I don't know, I felt like it. Like, if he truly still felt nothing, if everything meant nothing to him, like, if it was like, it was a nice, if that's how he felt about the week, if the phone call was a fleeting joy, then fuck him to death. I don't give a fuck. He's pathetic. But I think what makes it worse is that if he actually did feel anything towards me, and he still chose, I'm going to suppress it. I'm going to act like it's not what it is. I'm going to gaslight Tamia. I'm going to make her feel bad for even thinking that my actions could mean what I'm saying and showing they mean. Or at least showing, at the very least. Like, yeah, nigga, you went out of your way to say that I was some special connection to you. Of course I'm gonna believe it. And then make me feel like a fool for seeing it as a special connection is so fucking awful. What a fucking asshole. And then for that phone call, it's like, what if it was just. I don't think I can fully believe it. Because if he was truly. No, I'm gonna. No. I can't even lie to myself. I could lie to myself. I could say he truly just meant that phone call as a fleeting joy. No. Because he would have hung up when he was tired. If a man truly felt nothing towards me, he would have hung. Like, if he felt nothing towards me but enjoyed it, He would have hung the fuck up when he was sleepy and been like, ah, okay, I'll catch you later. He would have not stayed on that phone. And then even when he passed out fully, the second he woke up, he started talking to me again. And then still refusing to go back to bed. I doubt that he had a lack of feelings for me. I think he's just trying to push me out of his mind. And nothing's wrong with that, but boy oh boy, I think I find that one more pathetic. Because it's like maybe it's good that he's fucking off, because the type of man who can't admit how he feels, who can't be consistent, who can't be honest with himself or others, who can't value his own emotions, wants, and needs, and pushes them aside. And I can tell he does that because he does this thing where he just waits. Like, he has emotions and feelings, but he pushes them down because he didn't grow up around people or with people who made it safe for him to actually acknowledge how he feels openly and safely. And then he'll just fucking explode. Not always super abrasively, but still enough, like a pot overflowing. And then I'll have to be the one to turn down the heat, take off the lid, and be like, okay, how about we address this? I have told you could tell him a million times to just tell you things directly, with and that you will 100% be open to anything, and just you want to hear him out. But he was afraid. I like that's actually consistent. The week we hung out, and even before then, I said, if you ever change your mind, and if you don't just want to be blocked by the end of this interaction, and you do actually feel like you want to have something with me longer than that, then it can be discussed and I can see how I feel. But as of now, for the sake of my emotions, I'm not doing that. I get it. He was struggling with, here's a girl I like. I'm not sure if there's an end game. I don't think she fits into my life, but I really want her around. But I don't know. What if I mean nothing to her? What if I truly mean nothing? What if she's not the one for me, but I still want her? I get it. I'm just saying, no matter how you slice it, he's someone who wasn't man enough for me. I liked him. He could never believe it. He liked me. He would never admit it. That's not how relationships start off healthy. So maybe it's an ironic omen, him being so against it, despite nothing really being there to like validate why he would be so afraid or why he thinks it wouldn't work, despite all the billions of signs of yes that we both mutually had with each other, at least seemingly. I'm just disappointed and disgusted and upset. But whatever. I guess it's a self fulfilling prophecy. We have ironically packed and found out the reasons why we would never work out. Some reasons could be because of me, absolutely. But a lot of them really just go back to him. And if someone's so adamant to be like, this won't work even if we try, even when they keep trying to get my attention, then it's like, okay, a relationship can't work with just one person trying. And if he truly wanted me, or at least if he had any sort of mental stability and consistency, he would be trying. And it disgusts me how it's like he had feelings for me that whole week and he was scared to even try and admit himself that he had feelings for me. I had to rip off that band-aid. He's not as manly or masculine as I thought. He's not the man for me. He was a very pretty facade. He was a facade. And I guess I better not get too hurt over it because it's like he's not acting like my future husband, so let's not see him as that. He's just some stupid idiot who I regret ever liking and sort of regret ever meeting. Feels like a fucked up test from the universe. Like, hey, before we send you your husband, how do you feel about this fucked up knockoff? Like if you asked for Gucci and got Fucci, and the Fucci had bed bugs or whatever. I like Mitchell. I wish he liked himself, and I wish he liked me enough where he could have just upfront said it during that week we had. Like, I really like you, but and I want to see where things are going, but I'm scared because we have these differences. I would have liked it if he respected and liked me enough to think I was gonna be safe enough for him to have that conversation. I would have liked a lot of things. I might talk about this later because I know I'll probably need to. But yeah, I'm so mad about this situation I can bite off my tongue because there's a million layers of nuance and patheticness, and it doesn't change the fact that I don't think he's coming back. If he was, he would have by now. That's all. Peace out. Is there anything else I want to say? I get the feeling I shouldn't hang up yet. He's just a very pathetic man. He is. Trust me when I say I feel pathetic even for liking him, being this sad over him. Because no matter how you slice it, if he is just some arrogant asshole who's played a bunch of girls before and just got over on me very, very hard, or if he's some guy who really did feel something for me but is too much of a defeatist with a self-fulfilling prophecy, and if he's too maladaptive and neurotic and denying and ridiculous that he wants to fuck it up, then I should just let him fuck it up. Why not let him fuck it up? And frankly, I did some fucked up shit too that probably would stop him from coming back too, but I don't know. I doubt we'll ever cross paths. I'm lucky enough in my life where I hardly ever see exes again after we end things. Thank fucking God. Aside from like one, maybe two instances at best. But yeah, he's. Yeah. Anyway. I'm gonna see if I can get some food and not think about this lame ass, stupid ass dude. Bye.